Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel BBC Rare Coins. Today, we're diving into the latest release from the US Mint, the newest quarter dollar that's making headlines and sparking excitement among collectors and history buffs alike. Let's start. Top 1. Have you ever looked at the change in your pocket and thought, could one of these coins be worth thousands? Believe it or not, one rare Washington quarter from the year 2000 sold for an incredible $51,000. And yes, it started off as ordinary pocket change. This isn't a colonial-era coin or a dusty relic from a vault. It's a 2000 Washington quarter, a coin that millions of Americans handled every day, tossed in jars, spent at stores, and left in drawers. But a tiny handful of these coins were different. What happened in the mint that year created one of the most stunning modern coin eras in U.S. history, and it shocked both experts and collectors alike. What exactly makes this coin so valuable? In the year 2000, the U.S. Mint was busy producing both quarters and the brand-new Sacagawea dollar coins. Somewhere in that busy production period, an extremely rare mistake occurred. A small number of 2000 Washington state quarters were accidentally struck on Sacagawea dollar planchets. Those golden-colored blanks made of manganese brass, slightly thicker and heavier than regular quarter blanks. The result? A Washington quarter that looks golden instead of silver. But this wasn't gold-plated. It wasn't painted. It was minted that way, directly by the U.S. Mint, struck on the wrong planchet. That's what makes this error so spectacular. It wasn't post-mint damage or tampering. It was a genuine, certified mint error, and only a few of these are known to exist. These coins were released into circulation, unnoticed by the mint, and ended up in the hands of the public. Imagine that. An error so rare it could be worth a car or even a small house. And it was spent like any other coin. Over time, sharp-eyed collectors and numismatists began discovering these strange golden quarters. They were heavier than normal, looked entirely different, and sparked curiosity. Eventually, one of them made its way to a major auction house. It was authenticated, graded, and sold for a staggering $51,000. Why so much? First, the rarity. This type of error almost never happens. Wrong planchet errors are rare, especially with modern coins, and even more so when they involve coins from two different denominations. You're looking at an error that has occurred maybe a few times in millions, possibly once in a lifetime. Second, the condition. The coin that sold for $51,000 wasn't just rare, it was in exceptional shape. High-grade examples of error coins are even more valuable because they show the error in stunning clarity, crisp details, minimal wear, and brilliant surfaces. When rarity meets condition, prices skyrocket. Third, the story. This isn't just a coin. It's a mystery, a mistake, a hidden treasure. A coin meant to be a quarter, accidentally struck with materials meant for another denomination, and then circulated undetected for years. It's a collector's dream. The kind of story that gets passed around in coin shows, collector forums, and auction floors. It's the reason people start looking at their change again. Now, the $1 million or $51,000. Question: how can you tell if you have one? Start by checking your 2000 quarters. If it's golden in color, don't assume it's fake or plated. Look closer. Feel the weight. Compare it to a regular quarter. If it's heavier and looks different, it might be worth getting checked. True error coins like these should be authenticated and graded by professionals like PCGS or NGC. That's the only way to truly know what you're holding. And remember, not every gold-colored quarter is valuable. Some have been altered after minting, which makes them worthless to collectors. But if you happen to have the real deal, a genuine 2000 Washington quarter struck on a Sacagawea dollar planchet, you're holding one of the rarest modern coins in American history. This story is a reminder to never underestimate the coins we handle every day. Somewhere in your change, your old coin jar, or that roll of quarters you picked up from the bank, could be a small fortune in disguise. Keep looking. Check your change, because next time, the $51,000 quarter might just be in your hand. Top 2. Have you ever wondered if a simple 25-cent coin could change your life? Well, it has for someone, because a rare and valuable 2003 Washington quarter once sold for an astonishing $44,000. Yes, a coin that most people would toss into a vending machine or leave in a cup holder turned out to be one of the most remarkable mint errors in U.S. coin history. This isn't a myth. This is a true story of how one tiny mistake at the U.S. Mint created a modern treasure. Let's go back to 2003. It was the fifth year of the popular 50-state quarters program, a nationwide coin series that brought new designs to the back of the Washington quarter. That year featured designs for Illinois, Alabama, Maine, Missouri, and Arkansas. Millions of these quarters were minted and entered circulation like any other coin. But among those millions, something rare slipped through that a small number of 2003 quarters were struck with a serious and shocking mint error. Coins that were struck on the wrong metal planchet, or struck double, or even struck off-center in extreme ways. These were not small errors. These were dramatic, visible, obvious mistakes. One particular example, a 2003 Washington quarter with a rare off-metal error, ended up being worth $44,000 at auction. The coin was supposed to be a standard copper-nickel clad quarter, weighing about 5.67 grams. But this one was struck on a completely different planchet, likely intended for a foreign coin or another denomination altogether. The color was off. The size was slightly wrong. The weight didn't match. The edges were different. It looked strange, because it was. When expert collectors examined the coin, they knew it wasn't an altered or counterfeit piece. It was a legitimate U.S. Mint error, a freak accident that created something truly one of a kind. The Mint doesn't release coins like this on purpose. Errors like this happen when a wrong blank, from another coin or even another country, somehow gets fed into the coin press during mass production. In this case, it went unnoticed and got stamped with the 2003 Washington quarter design. Now think about how easy it would have been for that coin to go completely unnoticed. It could have been used to buy a candy bar, dropped on a sidewalk, forgotten in a jar for decades. But instead, someone spotted the oddities. Someone realized that this wasn't just any quarter. It was rare. It was valuable. It was a jackpot hiding in plain sight. Once authenticated and graded by a top coin grading company, the coin was listed at auction. What happened next was nothing short of amazing. Collectors and investors battled for it. The price soared. And when the final hammer came down, the winning bid hit $44,000. That's not a misprint. $44,000 for a 2003 quarter because of a 1 in a million minting error. This is the kind of story that fuels dreams in the coin collecting world. The idea that the most valuable treasures aren't always gold bars in vaults or ancient coins buried in the ground. Sometimes they're in your pocket. Sometimes they're in that jar on your dresser. Sometimes they're hiding in plain sight. Oh, how can you tell if you've got something rare? Start by paying attention. Look closely at your coins, especially quarters from the state quarter years. Check the color. Check the weight. Look at the edges. Are there double strikes? Off-center images? Missing details? Unusual coloring or material? Any of these could be signs of a rare error, and if you see something strange, don't spend it. Don't assume it's fake. Don't clean it. Instead, have it checked out by a professional grading service. Because what looks like an odd coin to you could be your ticket to a huge payday. The 2003 quarter that sold for $44,000 is a perfect example of how modern coins can hold hidden value. It's not always about age. It's about rarity. It's about the story. It's about the kind of mistake that the U.S. Mint almost never makes, and the kind that collectors are willing to pay tens of thousands of dollars for. So next time you get change back at the store, take a moment. Look at your coins, because one of them might be worth far more than you ever imagined. And that's the true story of the most valuable and expensive 2003 Washington quarter in U.S. history. One error, one collector, one life-changing discovery. Top 3. Have you ever thought that a regular-looking quarter from your wallet could actually be worth tens of thousands of dollars? It might sound unbelievable, but it's absolutely true. One particular 2005 Washington quarter has stunned collectors and historians by selling for an astonishing $48,000, making it one of the most valuable and expensive modern quarters in U.S. history. This isn't a myth or some urban legend. It's the incredible true story of how a tiny mistake at the U.S. Mint turned an everyday coin into a priceless rarity. Let's go back to 2005, a year when the U.S. Mint was deep into the state quarters program, releasing 5 new state designs that year: California, Minnesota, Oregon, Kansas, and West Virginia. These quarters were everywhere, in your change, in vending machines, in your gas station's cash register. But among the millions that were produced, a small number of quarters were struck with an extremely rare and valuable minting error. And one of those became the legendary $48,000 quarter. What makes this coin so special isn't the state it represents, but how it was made. It's what's known as an off-metal error, a coin struck on the wrong type of blank. In this case, the quarter was mistakenly struck on a foreign coin planchet, possibly intended for another country's currency or another denomination entirely. The color was off. The weight didn't match a standard quarter. The rim looked slightly different. But the design on the coin, Washington's portrait on the front, and a 2005 state quarter reverse, was all U.S. mint. This kind of error happens when a blank from another batch, usually one mint for foreign coins the U.S. mint was producing at the time, gets mixed into the quarter production line. It's a rare accident. So rare, in fact, that these types of errors often go undetected for years, until one shows up in the hands of someone who takes a closer look and realizes that this coin is anything but ordinary. That's exactly what happened with this particular 2005 quarter. It was discovered by a collector who noticed the unusual weight and tone of the coin. Instead of discarding it or spending it, they had it professionally graded. That decision changed everything. The grading company confirmed that it was a genuine off-metal mint error, an authentic U.S. quarter that had been struck on the wrong planchet, something that should have never happened. Once authenticated, the coin was put up for auction, and when the hammer finally fell, it sold for an incredible $48,000, instantly becoming one of the most talked about quarters in modern U.S. history. But it wasn't just the error that made it valuable. It was also the condition. This coin was in near-perfect, uncirculated shape, known in the collecting world as a high mint state grade. That pristine condition, combined with the extraordinary rarity of the error, created the perfect storm for collectors. It wasn't just a rare quarter. It was a one-in-a-billion mistake preserved in time. Now you might be wondering, could something like this happen again? Could there be more out there? The answer is yes, absolutely. The U.S. Mint handles millions of blanks, dies, and coins every day. And while quality control is tight, errors still slip through. Not all of them are valuable, but some, like this 2005 quarter, are worth a fortune. So what should you be looking for? First, check the color. If you see a quarter that looks gold, reddish, or off-colored, that's a red flag. Next, feel the weight. If it feels lighter or heavier than a normal quarter, that could be a clue. Then, examine the edges. U.S. quarters have reeded edges, little ridges. If yours is smooth or strangely cut, that might be another sign. And of course, always look for doubling, misstrikes, or anything that seems off. These errors might be subtle, or they might be glaringly obvious. And here's the most important part. If you ever come across a coin that seems unusual, don't clean it, don't scratch it, and don't spend it. Get it checked out by a professional coin grading service. Because what looks like a 25-cent coin could be a $25,000 or even a $48,000 jackpot hiding in plain sight. The story of the most valuable 2005 Washington quarter is more than just a coin story. It's a reminder that even in a world of digital money and credit cards, the loose change in your pocket might still hold a secret worth a fortune. So the next time you get change at the store, don't ignore it. Take a closer look, because somewhere out there, another rare error might be waiting to be discovered. And maybe, just maybe, it'll be you who finds the next $48,000 quarter. Top 4. In the vast world of coin collecting, where history and rarity intertwine, few stories are as fascinating as that of the 2017 Washington quarter, a coin that, on the surface, seems ordinary, but hides a secret that shocked even the most seasoned numismatists. This is not just any quarter. It's a piece of modern history. A simple 25-cent coin that, because of a rare error, skyrocketed in value, selling for a staggering $44,000. But how did it happen? Let's go back. 2017 marked an important year for the the Beautiful Quarters program. That year, the U.S. Mint released 5 unique designs, one of them honoring the Ozark National Scenic Riverways in Missouri. These coins were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. At a glance, they looked like every other quarter in circulation. But for one of them, something went very wrong. Or, for collectors, very right. During the minting process, a rare and dramatic error occurred. An off-center strike. That's when the coin isn't properly aligned during minting, and the image ends up shifted, cutting off key design elements. The result? A coin that's visibly flawed and incredibly rare, but this quarter didn't just have an off-center strike. It had multiple errors. Some versions were double-struck, meaning the coin was hit twice by the dies, leaving ghost-like outlines and distorted images. Others showed major die breaks, dramatic cracks across George Washington's profile. These aren't common. These aren't even uncommon. These are once-in-a-generation finds. Now imagine this. You're sorting through your change after buying a coffee. And there it is, a 2017 quarter with strange markings. A design slightly off. Maybe even a crack. To the untrained eye, just another coin. But to a collector or an appraiser, that's a $44,000 jackpot in early 2021. One of these rare 2017 quarters, featuring an extreme off-center strike, sharp doubling, and a minting defect visible to the naked eye, was sold at auction. The bidding started low, but as word spread of its authenticity and uniqueness, the offer skyrocketed. When the hammer dropped, the final price stunned the room: $44,000. What makes this story even more thrilling is that coins like this aren't behind glass in museums or locked away in private vaults. They're still out there, in pockets, in drawers, in coin jars sitting on kitchen counters. And that's the magic of numismatics. Sometimes treasure hides in plain sight. So the next time you get change, take a second look. Examine the quarters. Check the mint mark. Look for signs, doubling, off-center designs, cracks, die clashes. Because the most valuable coin might not be buried deep underground. It might already be in your hand. And that's the story of the 2017 Washington quarter, a coin worth 25 cents or $44,000, depending on what you see. If you enjoyed this story, hit like, subscribe for more amazing coin discoveries, and check your pockets. The next rare coin could be yours. Top 5. It looks like any other quarter. Smooth edges, a familiar face, the unmistakable profile of George Washington. But in the world of coin collecting, appearances can be deceiving. Because in 2021, a single Washington quarter broke all expectations and sold for a jaw-dropping $38,000. This is not just a story about money. It's a story about a mistake, a rare, almost invisible error that turned pocket change into treasure. A 25-cent coin that became the most valuable Washington quarter of its year and one of the most sought-after modern coins in U.S. history. Let's go back to the beginning point. 2021 marked the end of an era. The final coin in the long-running America the Beautiful Quarters program was released, honoring the Tuskegee Airmen, the first African-American military aviators in the U.S. Armed Forces. A powerful tribute, a symbol of courage and progress. Millions of these coins were struck at mints in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, but among them, one was different. It looked like the others at first, but under the right light and through the eyes of a trained collector, it revealed something extraordinary. A minting flaw. Not just any flaw, a double strike, off-center, die clash anomaly. A combination so rare, it was almost mythical. The coin had been struck twice, but not in the same position. Washington's profile appeared ghosted, with part of his face shifted slightly downward. The word liberty was distorted. The motto, "In God We Trust," was partially doubled. The rim of the coin was thicker on one side, showing signs of off-center striking. On the reverse, the image of the Tuskegee Airmen was blurred with overlapping lines, signs of die fatigue and improper striking pressure. These are not things you see every day. These are not things most people even notice. But for coin experts, this was like finding lightning in a bottle. The coin was submitted for authentication and grading. The results? Beyond rare. An MS, mint state, grade, with confirmed double strike and mint error not previously recorded for the 2021 series. It was, for all intents and purposes, one of one. When the coin went to auction, expectations were high. But even those were shattered. Bidding started modestly. A few $100s, then thousands, then tens of thousands. Collectors from across the country joined the race. And finally, the hammer dropped at $38,000 for a quarter. A coin worth 25 cents to most became a high-profile piece of numismatic history. But what makes this even more incredible is where it came from. Not a collector's estate, not a high-security vault. It came from circulation, found in a handful of spare change, pulled from a pocket, examined under a lamp, and recognized for what it truly was, an accidental masterpiece. Coins like this don't just appear every day, but they exist, and they can be found by anyone. That's the thrill of the hunt. That's the magic of numismatics. Every coin has a story, and some stories are worth tens of thousands of dollars to own next time you get change at a gas station. Or count the quarters in your cup holder. Don't just toss them aside. Look closer, because somewhere out there, another 2021 quarter might be waiting. Another flawed, beautiful, rare mistake. Another hidden treasure, and maybe, just maybe, the next $38,000 quarter won't be in someone else's hands. It might be in yours. Music rises, intense and triumphant. This is the story of the most valuable 2021 Washington quarter ever discovered. From a simple error to a piece of American coin history. Check your change, like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments if you found anything strange in your spare change. The hunt is on.